Our first disappearance is Gayla Christine Schaefer. On June 29, 1979 at 7 p.m., Gayla Schaefer was dropped off at a pasture near her family's dairy farm in Moscow, Idaho. She was there to feed their 2 horses. After her husband dropped her off, he drove into town to run some errands. 45 minutes later, he returned to pick her up. However, Schaefer was nowhere to be found. After searching the farm for several hours, Gayla Schaefer was reported as missing. A couple articles of her clothing were found in a meadow nearby, but nothing else was found. At the time, Gayla was very religious and lived a stable home life. Months prior to her disappearance, Gayla and her husband would sometimes receive strange phone calls in the middle of the night. On Good Friday, they had received an anonymous note that was made out of letters from magazines and newspapers. The note said, quote, "You have sold out to Satan." 2 months after her disappearance, Gayla's mother received a phone call. When she picked up, she heard a female voice asking for help, but then suddenly hung up. The exact same phone call would happen a second time. Believing the calls could be from Gayla, the police put a recording device on the phone, but the person never called back. But this isn't where the story ends. Close to the pasture where Gayla disappeared lived a man named Larry Hagedorn. In February of 1994, 15 years after Gayla went missing, Larry's son, William Hagedorn, was convicted of shooting his girlfriend, and he was given a life sentence. A rumor was spread saying that William shot his girlfriend because she found out that he and his father had killed Gayla. At the time of Gayla's disappearance, Larry was excavating his property and burying trash with a backhoe he owned. When investigators questioned William about this, he refused to confirm or deny it, saying, quote, "I don't want to hurt my dad." The police did an excavation of the property and found clothes similar to what Gayla was wearing when she disappeared, along with 2 bone fragments. However, I couldn't find anything that said they were confirmed to be Gayla's. Larry passed a polygraph test, so he wasn't charged with anything. He passed away in 2005.
I got none. It was Larry. This is kind of
It was probably him. Um,
probably Larry.
His son shooting his girlfriend doesn't really help.
No,
Don't shoot your girlfriend.
unless she's being a bitch.
Actually, I think that's why he shot her. That's why he claimed he shot her, because he was or she was pissing him off, so he pulled out a gun, and he accidentally shot her.
I accidentally shot her after pointing a gun in her face.
Our second case is Ivory Francis Green. On March 6, 2004 at 4 p.m., 17-year-old Ivory Green was seen near her home in the building of Washington Courts located in Utica, New York. Later that night, she called her mom to say that she was coming home for dinner, but she never arrived. Ivory has never been heard from again. At the time, she was very rebellious, and in the past, she was a runaway. 2 months later, Plummer Reed Jr., a distant relative, called Ivory's mother saying that he would tell her what happened to Ivory. He was then shot 3 times in the head, and the call disconnected. Shockingly, Plummer would survive. His cousin, Benji Reed, was sent to prison for the attempted murder, along with another man named Marquise Williams, who supplied the gun. After the shooting, Plummer denied knowing anything about Ivory's disappearance. Police believe that Ivory was killed due to her affiliation with a number of drug dealers in Utica. Investigators believe they know what happened to her and believe that a number of people who were involved have already been incarcerated.
That's a good story to tell. Do you think I want to know what his face looked like after? Did it say where how the bullets like traveled through its head?
I don't know, it didn't. There wasn't really a lot on it.
Like how the fuck is that possible?
There was not a lot on this one, even though it's like the only, interesting thing to happen in Utica. So,
Yeah, getting shot in the head 3 times and surviving.
yeah, it's pretty cool, but
I feel like that would have been talked about more.
our third disappearance is Stephen Michael Mason. On June 20th, 2006, Stephen Mason and his wife were camping at the Douglas Forks U.S. Forest Service campground near Sequim, Washington. The couple got into an argument, and Mason's wife left the campsite to go home. The next day, Mason went to a friend's house and asked him to give his wife's purse back to her. However, Stephen was not done with the trip, and he had the friend drive him back to the campsite. That was the last time he was seen. On June 29th, he was reported missing, and authorities did a thorough search of the area, but they only found an untouched cache of food. Mason was considered an experienced camper who had camped in the same area in the past, giving him intimate knowledge of the area. He also had a lot of family that he was close with. They don't believe he would just abandon them.
How old was
However,
he?
I didn't say that, did I? He was in his 60s.
Oh, no. He's too old to be an expert camper. His back hurts, knees hurt,
Okay.
gets tired.
Well, an expert means like knowledgeable.
An expert means you're really fucking good at doing it.
Yeah. And
So,
camping in a national forest isn't. He doesn't
I mean,
require
that's pretty
that
hard
much.
to do.
Yeah, but it doesn't. It's not like a 60-year-old
Pretty
can't
sure.
physically do it. Because clearly he could
Yeah,
do it.
he can, but he's not an expert anymore.
Well, he's not an expert
This shit
anymore
has
because he's
a
gone.
being
And he's probably
being an
dead.
expert has an expiration date. Once you hit 50s and 60s, bro, you're not very good at shit anymore. Just old.
Hmm. I disagree, but
You disagree?
disagree to disagree.
All right. You're an
However,
expert runner.
hmm
You're an expert. Not when you're fucking 50.
yeah, not when you're 50, you can't do it anymore. But you still know how to do things, like you know how to warm up and stretch and how to get that fast or whatever. It's like coaching.
Yeah, but you're not physically an expert.
Yeah, you're not physically an expert, but you're an expert because you know what to do. Like you could
So
coach
if
it.
you're not physically an expert, are you still an expert?
Yes.
But you can't do it.
Would you say okay,
But you can't do it.
let's
So
say
are you an
let's say
expert?
when we played high school basketball, instead of having Harrington coach us, Michael Jordan came in and coached us. Michael fucking Jordan. Would you say that he is an expert basketball player?
He is a past expert.
You're right. You definitely know more about
If
basketball
this
than Jordan.
motherfucker is walking with a cane and teaching us basketball, he's not currently an expert because he can't
Jordan?
even fucking walk. Yeah,
Jordan can walk,
he's
bro.
a
How
past
old do you think?
expert.
How old do you think Michael Jordan is?
Bro, he's like 65.
Yeah.
Okay, he can't play basketball. That's what I mean.
Okay, yeah, he can't
Also,
play basketball.
65-year-olds can like barely they can walk, but they're not running. They're not doing sprints, brother.
Michael Jordan,
I don't even know what we're
if you're
talking
watching
about.
this right now, Michael Jordan, prove us wrong.
Yeah,
prove,
go dunk a basketball.
prove us wrong,
Go
Jordan.
play a full half in an NBA game and tell me you're still an expert.
He is an expert, bro.
Go play. All right, bro. If you're an expert, go back into the NBA. You can't because you're fucking old. So you're not an expert. You're past expert.
Some have put together the idea that serial killer Israel Keys had kidnapped and murdered Mason. When Israel was arrested, he admitted to kidnapping two people between 2005 and 2006. He claims to have dumped a body in Lake Crescent, which is about 32 miles away from Mason's campground. Like Mason, Israel also loved the outdoors and camping. He had reportedly gone shooting in an area about a mile away from Mason's last location. He was also a member of the same VFW where Mason worked. However, on June 22nd, a day after Mason was last seen, Israel had driven to Richfield, Washington to pick up ATVs for work. Richfield is about 150 miles away from Mason's last location.